Right, our mission is to obtain Hazik's Netflix password. So let's continue from yesterday's journey. Our case is still not finished yet. The judge in this case said, "Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again." So we are back with the three stooges, three initial witnesses. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense summation examination. Alright. He's already lying in his first statement. He said, "I only carried 4 passengers that night. I swear it, because we have determined that Beppo actually carried 5 passengers in the previous session. So this must be the statement that we're going to focus on." I was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. She figured this on the fare, and then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's not too much. So my guilt is disturbing that man. Everything I said before stands. The phantom 5th passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little... how do we pronounce that? Koznach. "I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster. The guild's fare is 4 pence across the board, you know that. Am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny of fare? It's so cold and the last run of the day is always half empty. You have been dishonest, coachman. I'm sorry. You're a disgrace, Beppo, a disgrace. And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild. 5 minutes, sir. I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week. 4 passengers at 5 pence each is 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently. Alright, it's time for our cross-examination, so let's get ready to figure out which statement is faulty. We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Absolutely. Various misgivings. Right, it's us against the 3 gentlemen again. This time it's either Beppo or the middle guy. We gotta focus on those 2. I only carried 4 passengers that night, I swear it. Okay, let's press. Hold it! 4 more statement. So there were only 4 passengers on your carriage, but you didn't charge the standard 4 pence fare. Is that right? It's impossible to make the last run of the day pay. I was so cold, it was all I could do to stop myself passing out. I'm getting chilblains just listening to you. It was terrible. So I wanted to give myself a pat on the back for even keeping the bus running. Doesn't a dedicated coachman deserve an extra penny per passenger? You're digging a deeper hole for yourself here. So he's persistent on lying about the existence of the 5th passenger. If only there had been a 5th passenger on the omnibus that night. I believe there was. I seriously think there was. Because if you still remember in our court record, when we go inside the omnibus or the carriage, we notice that there is actually enough room, a space large enough for one person to hide and jump out of. If I remember correctly, it's around here. Yeah. So this was where the victim sat. This was where Mr. McGilded sat. And this here is, I think, where the 5th passenger really hit himself, you know. So that's gonna be the core of our premise to fight against these 3 gentlemen. After this, we shall see which one gives up. Then we would have had another suspect. Well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. Really? You were told that? Does that mean everyone on board that night paid 5 pence instead of 4? So this guy paid 5, this guy paid 5. If only we can call upon our defendant to confirm the fair price. And I just told you that I did. A flat fare of 5 pence across the board. So all these witnesses have accommodated the same statement they are saying that night, on the night of the murder, the travel fare is 5 pence per person. But I think that's just not true. It's not something to be proud of. The so-called discrepancy my learned friend identified was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed, it's gone, dead and buried. I'd have been happy if it had ever existed in the first place. He fiddled us on the fare, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much. Let's press on this statement. Hold it! This blood-curdling sight, you mean the murder, I presume? Yes, sir. A loathsome sight. No one should have to witness the horror in the eyes of a man the moment his life is taken. Well, not exactly, sir. What do you mean? I didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed. Huh. That's new. Good gracious, really? We have another witness who did, however. The banker has already testified to it. But Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which Tim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant. Yeah. If they both sat next to each other, this means that if one of them could see the victim, both of them could actually see the victim. I heard the banker gent next to me take a sharp intake of breath. That's when I looked through the glass. That's when I saw that horrible blade poking out from his belly. All covered in blood. Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming even when I'm eating. I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Hold it! So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGilded, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him. Is that right? That's what I said, isn't it? Okay, I think it's this statement. He hesitated before answering the question. Inside the carriage. There's been much talk of a fifth passenger, but as yet, zero evidence. Just you wait. Baron Van Zix will show you the evidence when the time comes. Then what are we wasting all this time for, eh? It's black and white. The man's guilty. Something about Mr. Fairplay's testimony just jars with me. I wish I could look up what it was. It very nearly came to an end. Chances of life here. Did we forget to press on the final statement just now? I think yes. Yes, you're right. Need to pay careful attention here. Don't want to miss even a flicker of a reaction among these witnesses. Remember, if you happen to spot one of the witnesses reacting in a strange way, don't hesitate to pursue them as to the reason. Alright, let's skip to the last statement. 2, 3, 4. Okay, this final statement, we forgot to press this one. He stabbed him. I think so, yes. Let's press. Hold it! Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Oh, yes. That's right. You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice pick grip. I suppose I might have, yes, put the cart for the horse maybe. Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. And when I turned around, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor and the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. No. Both the victim and the accused were not on the floor. And the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. Okay, that part is true. The first part is wrong though. And the fellow holding the handle was the famous man. So in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all. I really thought that I did, but when I go over it again in my head, no, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of the stabbing. Huh. Suddenly there's a exclamation mark in the middle. Something's happening. Look around. A and D. This man is hiding something. Didn't actually see the precise moment of the stabbing and he's acting all strange. Pursue with space. Excuse me! Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay? Now you'll listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Are you asking or are you telling? He's getting flustered. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? I think there's no chance that this guy actually saw. No chance. Well, it is a little hard to believe, certainly, unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on the top of an omnibus. Respectable city banker having. I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as a Ballarat day. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar, my lord. I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw. Oh, I can do that, alright. I'll tell you just how grim it was. Alright, we got a new statement. That's a win for us. Finally, the breakthrough that we are hoping for. We got a new statement. So he said, do you think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed the man? Blood-soaked hands, okay? Not glove hands. Although the evidence that we have right here shows that it's not soaking really. There's only a splotch of blood on the right glove. Nothing on the left. Nothing inside. So we're gonna use this. Let's press further for clarification.
Hold it!
Blood soaked. Well, perhaps soap is staying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Ha! Both of them were covered in it. So he said both hands are covered in blood, but the contradiction is, inside our evidence, only the right glove has the blood splotch. And you saw that from the roof through the skylight. Well, the skylight's reasonably large, so I had a pretty good view. And there was a lamp on inside the carriage as well, so I'm quite sure of what I saw. This banker's latest statement is very suspicious. He said that both hands are covered in blood. I feel sure there's something not quite right about it. When you feel something doesn't add up, that's when you should have a good look through the court record. Somehow we've managed to keep our chances alive. Can't waste this cross-examination. I have to use it to bring some new facts to light. Be careful where you press these witnesses. The danger is that the jury will end up believing something unhelpful as they did before. Maybe, but we can't let the fear of that happening stop us from uncovering important new information. Okay, I think I know what to do here. We are going to circle back to the final statement from Mr. Middle guy about the both hands soaking in blood. For passengers. Now this is the gist of the statements. 5 pence for the bus fare. Saw the blood-curdling sight. McGilded stabbing that man. Do you think I forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after the butcher stabbed the man? Okay. Let's present for this statement the contradiction here. The blood-soaked hand is only on the right glove, and it's not even hand, it's on the glove. Present.
Objection!
Blood-soaked hands. It's actually gloves. Well, I admit that soap might be laying it on a little thick, but anyways, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. No, only one. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar. What? Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilded, on the night in question. Oh yes, right. And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark colored stain here. But as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right hand glove. That's what I've been saying. Gotcha. In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. Finally, the breakthrough that we needed. Yeah. But no, that can't be right. So you're the liar here. That's right, you were quite clear about it. You said it was both hands. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it was in both hands. It was only one, but the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands, which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. I'm a city banker, for pity's sake, my word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate. Oh, that's new. What's that? He's claiming to have no reason to lie. But is that really the case? Mr. Naruto, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, why he might be lying. The reason that he might be lying. Hold on. Autopsy report. Victim Mason 54. Time and cause of death. Step 1, she abdomen with a knife whilst journeying on the bus. Died to nothing suspicious here. Crime scene photograph. Nothing suspicious here. To let the glass defendant, nothing. Job masters run the head office. A large knife was found lodged in the victim's abdomen, containing fancy ornamentation, suggesting it might be valuable. Let's try to open it again. Among the defendant list of debtors is Bruce Fairplay, who would have been due to repay his loan imminently. I think about the loan thing. Yeah, the loan thing is probably the reason why Mr. Bruce Fairplay wants Mr. Magnus to be acquitted as guilty. Full of names. Yeah, because it says here Bruce Fairplay owed Mr. Mason quite an amount of money, so I think that's the reason why. Let's for now focus on that. Hopefully. I have evidence. Okay, so let's recap. Mr. Bruce Fairplay owed Mr. Mason McGilded some money, and because of that, if Mr. Mason McGilded is found guilty, he doesn't have to pay off that debt, right? Yeah, I'm sure of it. My lord, the defense is ready to present evidence. Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony in this court. Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness' alleged deception of the court is he owed Mr. Mason some money. I'm gonna present this as evidence.
Take that!
Your Honor, this is a list of the debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Of course, Your Honor. It's all written here. Well, it's barely worthy of being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? How much is a guinea actually? I'm not sure. Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? This document states that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant, Mr. McGilded, to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist. Cease to exist? Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claim in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? In a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant. And that brought a total silence inside the courtroom. Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Yes, my lord. Let me ask you again, and be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim? Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. In other words, you have committed perjury, my dear friend. Now, let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch. A pinch? But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGilded's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained. So you keep saying. I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir. Go ahead, Mr. First. Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens. Seeing what exactly? The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think... Yes, I'm almost sure that it was on both of his hands, not just one. What? It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. This time I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Thank you, Your Honor. That would be helpful. Do I make myself perfectly clear? Crystal, Your Honor. Yep, it's good news for us for now. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last. We might finally have a chance to turn things around here. Witness testimony. What the witnesses really saw. Alright, we're back against these three stooges again. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself, no, not until I heard that scream. Okay, so the two gentlemen in the middle and on the right side saw the stabbing first, and finally Beppo as the driver saw it last. Okay, let's just remember that for now. Anyway, the fact remains there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen. Judge, are you okay? Well, lo and behold, in truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. Okay, let's contemplate that statement for a while. There was no one else inside the carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. I'm gonna take a quick drink first before we carry on with our mission. Be back in 2 minutes. Alright, we're back. Let's continue the case. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it. No, not really. Oh, you must be lacking in courtroom procedures. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it. No, not really. That's really not what testimony is about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witness's accounts. Okay, so far, yeah, I agree. In other words, there is no substantial, no significant change in the facts of the case. Yeah, but your witnesses are not dependable. They can't be trusted with their statements and testimonies. One of them said he saw the witness and victim on the floor, and then the other said that they actually saw it from where they sat, but they actually didn't. A lot of inconsistencies. Very well. The cross-examination, please, counsel. Yes, my lord. Cross-examination, what the witnesses really saw. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. Hold it!
Hold it!
The evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record. I'm well aware of that, sir, but nevertheless, I know what I saw and I stand by it. The man had blood on both his hands. Again with this He's defiant even in the face of hard evidence. He's steadfastly refusing to admit that he might be mistaken about what he saw. But why? Your reasoning is dire. One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the grim crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused fingers. Did it drip though? However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired. That matters. We're gonna press on all the statements just in case we get new statements or new information come to light, which might help us later. We're gonna press everything.
Hold it!
Don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance as well, you know. But for crying out loud, we all know that no one else could possibly have done it. Wait, I can look around, right? Okay, hold on. Let's see this sometime. We don't see any suspicious behavior on all the witnesses. You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding with the defendant, do you not? And you hope to release yourself from that financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty? That's not entirely what I was hoping for. Lost a little guinea or 10 when I backed the wrong horse in the derby. Oh. So he gambles, guys. He gambles. I was going to win it all. There's a fixture this weekend that's a sure thing. A little guinea or 10. I'm a banker. No one bets an eye if I borrow a little spending money for the weekend. I think you may have revealed rather more about your character than you bargained for, sir. These witness scruples are not on trial here. Proceed to the next witness. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attackers' hands with blood on them. There might be something inside this statement if we really analyze the positioning of the victim, the witness, as well as the accused.
Hold it!
You definitely saw that too. Both on both hands, blood on both hands. Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of Mr. McGilded's glove has any sign of blood on it. That's right. Thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGilded sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. Oh, new information, no gloves. He wasn't wearing these gloves? That's correct. And I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported that there was no trace of blood. No trace of blood on Mr. McGilded's glove hands. This is weird, right? I mean, the prosecution is agreeing on the defense points. There wasn't blood on its hands. This is puzzling indeed. This must be significant somehow, I'm sure of it. I didn't actually see anything myself. Anyway, the fact remains there can't have been anyone else in that carriage. I didn't actually see anything myself, no, not until I heard the scream. Hold it, old man.
Hold it!
You didn't see anything. That is to say, no sir, I didn't. Very sorry about what I said before. Very sorry. It was very wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw him stab the man. Wouldn't you agree, sir? I know what you're insinuating, but I certainly wasn't making up stories. To say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it? Mr. Beppo, you were driving your horses. At the very least, you must have enjoyed a good view of London streets. It was cold that night. It was all I could do to keep from passing out, sir. Yes, my head was fairly frozen solid. Sorry to say, sir. It would seem prudent to avoid travel on the last omnibus service of London's cold winter nights. Beppo. Oh, the old man actually has eyes. He has got a pair of eyes. Anyway, the fact remains there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen.
Hold it!
And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight of the roof of the omnibus. That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. Oh yes, I remember I was shivering. It was so bitter. Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. Yeah, you could have joined Mr. McGilded and Mr. Mason inside the carriage, right? It's cold outside. Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. Why not? Is it because there's a fifth person there? I was locked from the inside, huh? It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. It was locked? That's right, and it's a public bus service. Is it locked though? Looks like it can be locked. It's public bus service, for Pete's sake. That's not what I call fair play. Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below. Well, I can assure you I wasn't just looking down. I was glaring long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in the cabin, I would have noticed. Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Yeah, there has been a long string of inconsistent statements from these two. It's not hard to imagine that they are lying for some reason. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? Through the skylight. Let's finally check on the skylight from inside. It's quite a large skylight. Yes, quite large enough to afford a good view into the cabin from the roof deck. Okay, so far it's made of glass and it can be seen through from upstairs of the omnibus or the carriage. And there doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of any description, meaning it can't be opened. So I suppose it can't be opened from inside, in the cabin at least. Is there any reason why during can this be locked? This is an important question. In case, let's just save it before we answer this question. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? Okay, I'm gonna answer this question in terms of percentage. So the skylight is located in the middle of the omnibus. There, at most, someone from the top might have been able to see around 60%, 50, 60, yeah, fairly, I would say around 60% of what's happening inside the cabin of the omnibus due to the angle and sitting arrangement of the passengers. So I'm gonna go with they might not have been able to. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the floor of the upper deck. Is that right? Yeah, I think the positioning of the witnesses is very, very important here. If Mr. Bruce Fairplay is, sat at the back of the upper deck, he wouldn't be able to see anything. But if his position is somewhere around here, in the front part of the upper deck, he might be able to see some things. In that case, there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you. Exactly, only 60%. The other 40% is like cut off from your sight. You can't see it. You won't be able to see it. What? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. but the possibility cannot be denied that at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. I agree.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You will identify the area on this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Okay, we can do this. We have 3 chances. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated? Alright, so based on our examination, is it the back seat or the front seat? Oh, it's the front seat. Okay, so the victim and the victim and the accused was sitting right here, meaning if what Mr. Bruce Fairplay said is right, they are here. The second and the third witness would be sitting here, meaning the angle at which they can see the victim is on this angle, and the covered part not being able to be seen is this part right here, which incidentally also happen to have a secret compartment under the seat. So we're gonna go with this. Present.
Take that!
Here, my lord, in this location, an extra passenger could have been completely hidden from view.
Objection!
If you believe that to be true, counsel, then may I suggest you attempt to conceal yourself there. Sorry? And here's to you never seeing the light of day again. Oh, it's wrong. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated? Front, back. Go inside. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. After all, the victim is seated here. Our accused here, meaning it's on this side. Yeah, the secret compartment is on this side. Sorry. My bad. Alright, Your Honor, I think the area is here, and I'm sure of it. Present.
Take that!
Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of the travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other. Yep, I agree. Which means the visible part of the cabin which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight is as I've drawn here. There could be a fifth person here. Yeah, I agree. That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. Victim and attacker opposite, obscured from view. It's on the blind spot of the witnesses. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it.
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. Your Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude. A name? You want a name? It's not in the evidence, is it? Okay, so the description for the murder weapon says a large knife that was found lodged in the victim's abdomen. Its quality and fancy ornamentations suggest it must be quite valuable. It doesn't say it belongs to Mr. Mason, right? Which means the initial that we see here belongs to the actual murderer. It could be an M, it could be a W, as we have came to the conclusion yesterday. Maybe Mr. Wright, the owner of the carriage. Now here's the question, are we able to name a person to be the fifth passenger that night? Damn, that's hard. Okay, I might not be able to give the full name, but I can give the initial at least. Let's try. Oh, we only have 2 lives left, right? Still, we're gonna try. I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name. The response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned. Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. I think there's something inside our court record and evidence or the list of people, but we're just gonna try our luck here. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, Mr. Wright the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin. Oh, we need to choose one. Susato Mikotoba is SM. Oh my god. We completely missed Mr. Male Strongheart. But he's not connected to this case, is he? Letter M, completely missed him. Magnus McGilded M, Baruch Van Zix BVZ, Mason M, Beppo B, Bruce Lady First. Lord Chief Justice who wields absolute authority in judicial matters, including the appointment of lawyers. Damn, I can't believe I'm doing this. Should we save? Yeah, I think we should save. Your Honor, I present Mr. Male Strongheart, the Lord Chief Justice.
Take that!
Concealed in the blind spot of the cabin that night was none other than this unexpected passenger. No. So it's not him. Who else could be there? The person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view. Okay, let's recap. Lady First and also Bruce Fairplay both seated on top of the omnibus. Beppo is also on top as a driver. Mason was the victim sitting inside, and the evidence of his photograph is actually a very strong evidence to suggest that he wasn't moving at all. So maybe it's Magnus sitting opposite of Magnus is sitting opposite of Mason. I think that's quite possible. Let's try.
Take that!
The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Why? What are you talking about, counsel? That's the name of the defendant. Yeah, I know.
Objection!
If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zix. People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. He's referring to Japan, I think. But I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Yeah, I was under the same impression because I saw this image not so long ago. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact it's the very premise on which this case is built. Multiple witnesses have attested to it. Okay, so a lot of people see it.
Objection!
But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim was really sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What inconsistency are you talking about? No, hold on, wait a minute. I'm actually noticing something new inside this image. If we take a look here, the upper button is on, the lower button is also on, but the middle button is missing. The middle button missing, meaning the vest was actually buttoned but was accidentally unbuttoned during the stabbing? Maybe, perhaps. I'm not sure. Oh, that's an interesting piece of information. We didn't actually notice about this middle button missing here. But now that it has... Okay, let's revise. Assuming Mr. McGilded sits here, is the stabbing possible to be in this position? Can he stab a person sitting next to him in this position? And if he's seated in front of the victim, as in opposite of the victim, would he be able to stab? I think the more probable location, if he were to stab the victim, is opposite, not beside. Okay, so we're gonna use this evidence if the need arises. What inconsistency, counsel? The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim. Oh, okay. So both of the witnesses insist that there were blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim. So that means there is actually a person sitting next to Mr. Mason, and that is the real perpetrator, because Mr. McGilded is actually sitting opposite of the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yeah, I agree. They might not be reliable, but both of them insist that the person sitting next to the victim has both hands covered in blood. Their testimony remains unchanged. Exactly, they both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailants. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit. The real murderer. The actual killer of this case. Extraordinary. Order. What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces, meaning the faces of both the victim and the killer couldn't be seen on the night of murder. Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. And what particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First? I'm afraid I don't remember. You call yourself a hatter? The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be sure? Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would undoubtedly have offered to depose the facts. He has a point. After all, Mr. McGilded is our client and he did not say a thing about this fifth person. Could it be well different philanthropist with a wonderful reputation? Yep, he wears a hat also. But there was a peculiar image that was shown just now. If you guys remember, the person sitting next to the victim has a mustache, and Mr. Magnus McGilded didn't. That mustache might be the big clue as to who it actually is. Unless that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. We got a stump. He's right, yeah. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Order. There is clearly a simple solution to this problem. Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand. Well, what say you, counsel? The prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As a suspect who will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion? My lord, should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not? Alright, this might be risky, but without Mr. McGilded testifying, we are getting farther and farther from the truth. In order for us to actually arrive at the real event that transpired, we need to risk Mr. McGilded being seen as more guilty as long as we can reach the ultimate truth. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. I demand Mr. McGilded testimony. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand. In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Ah, yes, I need a little time to reconsider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say. Get the man out here, I say. It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. I agree. In order for us to uncover the truth, he needs to testify. When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild. Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say, oh yes, that would be lovely. Yes, the jury says the man must be heard. Luckily. Very well, the court will hear the defendant's testimony. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have Mr. McGilded on the stand, on the witness stand. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. Alright, you witness are excused. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day? To be sure, I have, my lord. There are now two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal the fact from the police? By God, no. It is not in my nature to hide anything at all. Just answer the questions, please. The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell yous all, or keep me mouth shut? Tell us what, Mr. McGilded? The fine fella representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger. It's true? Aye, and it was me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened. Wait, what? You helped a killer and a murderer loose? No, Magnus McGilded. That convenient excuse can't save you now. I'm truly sorry, so I am, Lord Van Zeeks. I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you. Which was? Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and not in any way involved, you see? What? If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her into the courtroom, just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord. And who has this young child of whom you speak? And who was this young child of whom you speak? Of whom you speak? That I don't know. You don't know? Well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witness statements to be disregarded by the court. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings. What's going on? The courtroom is full of smoke. Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face. Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom. We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff, amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended. Alright, that's all the time that we have for tonight. I thought we might be able to solve this case in the second part, but no. It's getting more complicated than we initially thought. So we might have to do a third part for this. Sorry about that, but yeah, the case will continue. We're going to proceed with the remaining 2 lives that we have. Alright, that's all the time that we have for tonight. To Haziq, I think this case might be solved in the third part. Right? So just be ready with your Netflix password then. To the rest of you, thank you for joining, and I'll see you guys in the next stream to solve the case of the murder inside the carriage in London. Thank you and goodbye.